Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And we got a lot of news to get caught up on today. So we got some roster moves, we have new coaches, and we're going to be checking on Thomas Bordeleau at the World Juniors. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, a contributor at Fear the Fin at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you, of course, for making us your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can subscribe on YouTube, where Locked On Sharks, we are your team every day, or at least 3 days a week right now. But a lot of stuff happening over the past couple of days, heading into the weekend. Of course, we had the Sharks. They finally announced all their assistant coaches, and David Quinn fills out his coaching staff. We have a couple new Cuda signings, and, of course, we have Nikolai Knyzhov's injury. So let's start with that, with Knyzhov, which I think is kind of the biggest news heading in this Monday morning. So Knyzhov, who of course missed all last year due to a groin injury and then battling an infection, he tore his Achilles last week while training. Already underwent surgery for it, and his timeline to return right now is going to be mid-February. So kind of a big blow, not only for the Sharks, but for Knyzhov, who was, their rookie of the year 2 seasons ago, kind of came out of nowhere after being signed from the KHL and really found his home being Erik Karlsson's defensive partner. You just feel for this guy who's now going to have to go through basically almost 2 years of rehab to try to get back to playing hockey again. So I would expect, we'll hopefully things, it's a smooth rehab for him. He'll probably start out in the AHL, and then if he works his way back into the NHL by the end of the season, that'll be huge for him. But I would say probably kind of a bigger picture thing. It opens the door up for guys like Jacob Megna and Radim Šimić, who are, both are on NHL contracts, but are going to be fighting for positions, especially on that left side. You got Ferraro, who's a lock, basically. Vlasic, who's going to be playing just because of his contract. And then that third spot is going to be kind of up for grabs. It's really tough for Knyzhov, waking up Saturday morning and getting that email saying that he's going to be missing the next 6 months. It's a tough blow for him. And, I hope his rehab is much smoother than what it's been. And, he seemed like he's ready to go for training camp, and he's been working really hard to get ready for training camp. And yeah, it's just tough for this guy, because when he's on the ice, he's really does a great job of helping to balance out those offensive defensemen like an Erik Karlsson, provide that kind of stay-at-home defense and lets those guys really kind of do what they do well best, and has helped to kind of cover for them. So I hope he's able to get back to form and, be able to continue his NHL career. The Sharks did throw him a solid, by giving him a 1-year contract last season to cover this year. So I think if he's back in the AHL and back and playing in the NHL, if he's returning to form, I would not be surprised if they kind of do that again, another 1 year, like, hey, we still believe in you type of contracts after that. So, yeah. Speaking of the Cuda, they made a couple signings as well. They signed forward Luke Johnson, and then defenseman Derrick Pouliot. We'll start with Luke Johnson, because he was the first signing announced. So 5'11", 198-pound forward. He's 27. He'll be 28 basically when the season starts. Was a 5th-round pick of the Blackhawks back in 2013, and he's got a couple NHL games here and there. He's played a handful of NHL games, but not too many. Mostly an AHL guy, and this is a good kind of depth signing for the Barracuda. In the AHL, he played last year. He played with the the Manitoba Moose. Was with the Iowa Wild a couple years as well, and then the Rockford Ice Hogs, who are the Blackhawks affiliate. And he's in the AHL. He's got a bit of a scoring touch. He's had 2 18-goal seasons. Didn't produce as much last year. Only played 23 games in the AHL last year. I'm not sure if he was coming off an injury or not, but then also had 4 points in 4 playoff games as well, so which is nice to see. But a depth signing for them. The kind of, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more about the Cuda, but they're really trying to kind of bolster that Cuda team. So they also signed defenseman Derrick Pouliot. It's Pouliot. Anyway, he's also 28. Was a first round pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins, number 8 overall, 2012. He's kind of, another WHL guy. He's played a fair amount of NHL games, but never really kind of stuck. And he's been kind of floating between, he played some games with the Knights last year, with the Golden Knights, the Silver Knights, and then with the Kraken as well. Again, and these are both AHL only contracts. So they're with the Cuda. If they wanted to play on the San Jose Sharks, they'd have to get signed to an NHL contract as well. But again, another depth of signing, especially for, I think this is a good signing for the Barracuda too, where it kind of helps have somebody who's played NHL game, like a lot of NHL games in the room for these young defenders. You don't have to try to kind of put them in positions they're not ready to. And then when they're ready to kind of take those roles and take those mantles, that's where, it's fine. Like, who cares? Like Derrick Pouliot, he's, seems like a nice guy and everything like that. But like the Barracuda's job is to win games and get these young guys ready. And he's not going to kind of like stand in the way of these young guys getting ready. So I think, both these signings are, the Cuda, that 15-game losing streak at the end of the year really left a bad taste in their mouth. We've seen top to bottom throughout the whole organization, all the changes that have happened, not only with the Sharks, but with the Cuda, to try to, kind of improve the depth and the quality of players. And these are 2 signings that are more of the same thing of, the Cuda, they want to win next year. And, I know Doug Wilson Jr. isn't there anymore, but when, I talked to him, and winning breeds winning was something he mentioned more than once of, putting these guys into winning situations. And, Luke Johnson and Derrick Pouliot, they're perfectly cromulent hockey players who are going to kind of help add to some depth. And then if one of your young guys isn't quite ready to take the mantle of what you're expecting them, especially maybe early in the season, these guys can kind of step in and hold down the fort until your young guys are ready to kind of take on more challenges and kind of accept more responsibility. So, yep, perfectly cromulent signing. So before we continue, we do need to take a quick break and talk to you guys about our friends over at Built Bar. If you guys haven't tried Built Bar Puffs yet, you're depriving yourself of one of the life's greatest joys. And guess what? They have a new flavor, cookie dough. Who doesn't like cookie dough? I love cookie dough. Cookie dough ice cream is like my all-time favorite ice cream. It's cookie dough. It's covered in chocolate. What else could you ask more? And the cookie dough chunk puffs, they have a light, chewy texture, real cookie dough chunks, and of course, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's also healthy for you. 160 calories and a whopping 15 grams of protein in them. So head to Built.com, grab yourself a box, and if that isn't the flavor for you, go check out. They have a bunch of flavors that are always changing. You can get a box that has a bunch of that you can kind of pick your flavors. So that way you can find whatever your favorite is. So go to Built.com, use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right. And then, of course, the Sharks did finally announce all of David Quinn's coaching staff. And then they had a media availability on Friday that I was able to attend as well. And, they were all there, And so let's kind of, I guess we'll go through the guys. So we have Ryan Warsofsky, of course, which was no surprise. We knew that he was going to get be hired, but he's going to be running the PK and the defense. I'm not going to talk about him too much today, other than I did get to ask him about his penalty kill, especially coming from Chicago, where they had a very aggressive penalty kill. The Sharks had a pretty aggressive penalty kill as well, but was second in the league. How he's going to marry that. And he just said he likes a really aggressive penalty kill. So bring on the power kill. Let's go, baby. I think Warsofsky's going to do a great job with the penalty kill, especially since the pieces are already there for that. And then he's going to, be working with the defense. I think he's going to be doing a great job, especially with some of these young defenders coming through, and then also working with Carlson and Mark-Edward Vlasic. Guys who've kind of seen it all there, but I think for him, with his resume of everything that he's done and how successful he's been, I think he's going to be able to relate with these guys really well. And with players, they just want to get better and win. And I think Warsofsky comes from a winning culture. He's won everywhere that he's been. I think he's going to be an NHL coach sooner rather than later. Like he's going to be fine. So, and then of course we had Scott Gordon, who was hired to run the forwards and the power play. Oh, but if you want more about Warsofsky, I did a whole conversation with Sarah Avampado, who covers the Chicago Wolves a couple weeks ago. So go check out that if you want to learn more about Warsofsky. So anyway, Scott Gordon, he was hired to run the forwards and the power play. He's been an NHL coach. He was an NHL coach for the Islanders. He's also he was an AHL head coach for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms from 2015 to 2021 and the Providence Bruins. So and then he was also an assistant coach for the Maple Leafs and the Providence Bruins as well. And then some other teams, but I was mostly focusing on his AHL, NHL. So he's going to be running the forwards and running the power play. He talked about how, after watching some tape from the Sharks power play, where it was very predictable, and he wants to try to kind of bring a little bit more juice to the power play. He ran a very successful power play with the Leafs from 2011 to 2014. They had the seventh best power play at 19%. The crazy thing about that is the Sharks were 19% last year but they were 22nd in the NHL. So it's just crazy how much more effective power plays have gotten in that time. But still, I think the concepts are going to be there, of that. I looked at his power play numbers with Lehigh Valley Phantoms. They weren't great, but I don't know if that was more of the quality of talent on the Phantoms. We know the Flyers, their prospect pool, especially the past couple of years, hasn't been that great. They're kind of very similar to the Sharks, where they haven't been great and they're kind of building up their prospect pool again right now. Or if another coach was running the power play, especially when you're a head coach, you can't run everything type of situation. So, but yeah, looking at the power play numbers for the Phantoms, not that great. So we'll see. I think he definitely has his work cut out for him, but I think the Sharks have much better quality players than they did last year. I just don't know if they have a lot of, as we'll get into, I've said before, they have a lot of NHL caliber guys. I just don't know what the upside of these NHL caliber guys are. So, and then also they announced Thomas Speer. He's going to work with the goalies. Nabby, of course, is still kind of overseeing everything. But I think Speer is going to be more of kind of like the hands-on, especially with the NHL goalies. He worked with the Stockton Heat the last couple years. So he had like Dustin Wolf, who's a very highly touted goalie prospect, one of the best goalie prospects out there right now. And I think this is a great fit, especially when you look at, Aiden Hill, Capo are both like under 25 or 25. You have Strauss-Mann, you've got Itu McAnemy that they just, you have a lot of young guys. And I think his experience working with these young goalies, he didn't really give too much in his thing. He, wanted just kind of goalies to be part of the team and kind of work with their teammates and stuff like that. So, but I think he might be really kind of more reserved on what he's going to do. So hopefully working with these guys, these younger players, and can kind of get the most out of them is what we're hoping for with him. So, and then finally, Nick Gialdini, who's a local kid, which is pretty cool. He's going to be the video coach, was the Barracuda video coach for a while. Is from the Bay Area, went to San Jose State, so he's going to be doing the video for them. So I think especially having Barracuda, having done it for the Barracuda, he said the best thing is now he's going to have better quality footage and more camera angles. So if he was able to do the job for the Barracuda, and then now he can do it for the Sharks with better equipment and better stuff around him. So really excited for him. I think that's a pretty cool, having a local kid kind of growing up a Sharks fan. He's worked, he was a developmental coach for like the junior Sharks, and he's kind of worked, kind of done a little bit of scouting as well. He's probably a name on the rise that we might want to kind of keep in the back of our heads as someone as he continues to gain experience, and might be potentially working his way to some more coaching opportunities. But there's the Sharks coaching staff. I'm trying to line something up here so we can dig into Scott Gordon a little bit more and learn kind of what he has done and what he's bringing to the Sharks. So, but I wanted to make sure we kind of covered it here quickly. So. And then finally, we have one Thomas Bordeleau. But before we talk about Bordeleau, I just want to let you guys know, of course, about Locked On NHL. You guys know they're still pumping out content 5 days a week, even though we are down to 3. They still have you covered 5 days a week. Right now, they're going through all their power rankings every Thursday of each division. So they've done 2. Now they're going to be starting the Western Conference. So we'll see the Central, I think, on this Thursday, and then we'll do the Pacific. I believe the week after I think so, something like that. Anyway, so that's our schedule. So make sure you guys are going, after you're done listening to this, go check out the Locked On NHL channel as they get you covered on everything NHL 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, and of course subscribe on YouTube. All right. Let's talk Thomas Bordeleau, who's been playing at the World Junior Championships. I'm recording this Sunday, so they haven't played against Sweden tonight. I've got some other stuff tonight, so I wouldn't be able to record after the game. But I wanted to talk about Bordeleau's play so far, and it's been as advertised. So a little bit harder when you're some of the guys that they're playing against, some of the kind of some lesser competition. So we'll see how he plays against Sweden tonight. But, he has been a driver of play for Team USA. And, he's been playing that first line center for Team USA, has really helped. That first line has been easily the best line for Team USA. And he's been in the center of it and has been doing a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff not like behind the scenes stuff, but kind of, a lot of the work to kind of help set up goals and stuff like that, whether it's winning puck battles or, winning the faceoffs and stuff like that. And, he's been rewarded with some nice points. He's right as of recording right now, he is 6th in the scoring. He has 1 goal, 5 assists. He's also taken, the most amount of faceoffs. His faceoff percentage isn't as high as others, but he has definitely won the most amount of faceoffs. Jackson says hi. If you're on YouTube, you can see Jackson. But I think this is what we've wanted out of Bordeleau, was to kind of come in and be one of the best players there. And so far he's proven it. I know it's only 3 games, and some of the competition, like I said, hasn't been the best. I've watched all 3 of the games. The Austria game where they were just laying it on them at will. It's hard to take a lot of stuff away from there when you're the competition. Like, it looked like the Team USA was on a power play for, the entire first period. Then they kind of, took the foot off the gas a little bit there. But when you're up 4-0, but, in some of the games, the second game that they played where, they were down, it was 0-0 after the first, and then his line really got it going. And he was, basically every time his line came on the ice, they were scoring goals. And it was because of him doing little stuff to kind of set up his teammates, or winning those puck battles, or chipping the puck to a teammate to kind of really get things going, or winning the face-off in the offensive zone. And, this is what we want to see from Bordeleau. And they're going to be, like I said, they're playing Team Sweden tonight. So by the time you hear this, you'll have already know that most likely already know how that game has gone. But, and then of course the goal that he had, sorry, I just remember that goal where absolute laser of a shot on a one-timer, bar down. So good. He made this face when he after it. Just an absolute beaut of a goal. So, but yeah, Bordeleau, he's been coming. He's come as advertised. He's been doing everything, for Team USA to kind of help them win. And they're going to need him to continue to do that and kind of step up his game, and as they the competition gets a little bit tougher here as they finish up the preliminaries and they start going through the the knockout rounds and stuff. So there's not really much else to cover for World Juniors, just because the Sharks only have Bordeleau in it. It would have been fun if Eklund was in it. We could kind of talk about both the players, but yeah, that hasn't happened. And it's with of course, with Team Canada and all the stuff that's going on with them. And, a lot of my co-hosts don't want to talk about it, and that's totally fine. I understand if, people aren't watching it because of everything that's happened with Team Canada, but I just wanted to focus on Bordeleau and his play, and how he has played and how he's looked so far in this tournament that I know is meant a lot to him, and he's been working and looking forward to this tournament, especially after the past couple years of what has happened. So, so far I think Bordeleau's passing with flying colors, and hopefully this kind of propels him into, we're going to have rookie tournament here in about a month, and then training camp and all that fun stuff. So, that's it for Thomas Bordeleau. That's going to be it for today's episode. So, we'll be back on Tuesday night, Wednesday, where we have Brandon Coe joining the show. So really fun interview with him. Really nice, great to talk to him. So, so make sure you guys check that out. And then on the end of the week, we have our Get to Know the Enemy series, and we're going to be looking at the Edmonton Oilers and kind of how their offseason was, and get you ready for Oilers hockey 2022-23. So make sure you guys are staying checked in with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Of course, you can listen wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey, and of course, subscribe on YouTube. We're Locked On Sharks. We're your team every day, or at least 3 days a week right now until the season starts again. So you can follow me on Twitter at myfryhole. And then, of course, when you guys are done with this, go check out Locked On NHL. They've got you covered. They're still pumping out, like I said, pumping out content 5 days a week. And again, we'll be back. So Tuesday night on YouTube, Brandon Coe. Bye, friends.